Now, WPG Talk Radio 1450 presents Ask the Mayor. It's your opportunity to ask Atlantic City Mayor Don Guardian anything you want about the world's playground. To talk to Mayor Guardian, call 407-1450. That's 407-1450. Now, with Atlantic City Mayor Don Guardian, here's Harry Hurley.
Good evening and welcome to another, I know I can say this in advance, another exciting edition of the award-winning Ask the Mayor program. We're presented this evening by Town Square Media Atlantic City, bringing you this monthly opportunity for you to have your opportunity to ask the mayor your questions about the relevant issues of the day. We're going to need the first segment to cover a series of issues. There is literally so much happening all at one time and a lot of serious issues to broach with Mayor Guardian. Mayor, this will not be a boring hour, will it? No,
Harry, not to make light of it, but if you remember after our first 1 hour segment that went so well that we ran out of time, I said to you, what are we going to talk about? I don't know if I can come every month. There's not enough stuff to talk about in Atlantic City. And so how wrong I was.
We knew it then, and we absolutely affirm it now, that we run out of time, not material. I don't even know where to begin. We could begin with the threat of casinos in North Jersey and how awful that would be. We could begin with the state encroachment into Atlantic City. They want to take over Atlantic City, the state of New Jersey. But why don't we begin tonight on the issue of the governor not taking action on the pilot legislation, which is akin to vetoing it because it now is dead. It would have to come up all over again, and that's not going to happen, it seems.
That's correct. So, Harry, let's make sure we understand it. I said that Atlantic City needed to work cooperatively with the county, state, and federal government and public and private resources, and we still do. But we partnered with the state in particular and the federal government. And, to Cory Booker and Bob Mendez and Congressman Frank LoBionda's credit, they came through with the $20 million for our fire. They came through with the $52 million for our boardwalks. They came through with the $30 million for different repairs underground. But we worked with the state, and the state 18 months ago said, listen, we're going to conduct this summit, and now we're going to find a solution. The solution is we can't be giving you the $101 million that we give to Newark every year, and we can't give you the $101 million from the state that we give to Camden every year, or the 80, 70, and $60 million that you give to 35 other cities. But what we can do is we can redirect some funding from CRDA and from ACA, casino funds that can go to the city. And what we can do is make sure that we come up with an agreement with the casinos so they don't have any tax appeals and they lock in a dollar value. They presented the bills. There's no question they weren't perfect, but they were good bills. Then the governor did a veto. They went back and they got reintroduced, and then they got changed. And these are the bills that the governor and his team told him we needed. So this is nothing less than a double cross. I can't come up with pleasant words. I'm not going to deny that the governor and the senator has been helping Atlantic City, but now in a couple of weeks they now are reneging on the words to be against any casino outside of Atlantic City. And today, very, very specifically, they promised and they wrote a bill. And they not only did that, but since we're under state scrutiny, the state told us we had to include $54 million, $30 million from ACA, $24 million from IATs, from CRDA in our budget. So for them, maybe tomorrow morning to come out and said, hey, they're short $54 million in 15 and $54 million in 16, it's because you told us that you would provide this funding. You made us develop a budget with this funding. You told us to cut $25 million, which we did, and now you reneged and stuff. Shame on you. We've been very loyal to you. We've been very loyal to the governor, and we've been very loyal to the senator, and they haven't shared that loyalty.
Mayor, is it true that the city of Atlantic City is within 90 days or thereabouts of running out of money?
Yeah, I asked our finance people and Ernst & Young to start running projections. When we said that we were about 90 days away from running out of money, it was if the bills didn't pass. And someone had said to us at the time, how important are those bills? So they're very important to us. And without it, at some point we run out of money. You know that. We all know that.
Everything you did was predicated upon believing that ultimately, especially with the legislature fixing the pilot legislation, because there was initially the conditional veto, it's sort of if you fix these things, then we're good to go. The legislature did fix all those things. So everything you did was predicated upon the pilot legislation being approved.
Right. And let's not just attack Trenton because the legislatures, so the assemblymen and the senators in South Jersey, Central Jersey, and North Jersey approved the bills over and over again to help Atlantic City. There's only two individuals that seem to turn on us, the Senate president and the governor, and there was no reason to. We were doing everything we can. And listen, Harry, if there was a simple solution, we would have found it. But, whether you'd say we made mistakes for 35 years or since World War II, the point is, don't look back. Fix what has to be done, but you can't do them in 2 years.
If the pilot legislation had been approved today, that would have given 15 years' worth of casino tax stability.
Absolutely.
So the fact that it was not approved, in my estimation, was on purpose because the goal of the state is to take the city of Atlantic City over. And so why would you do that in advance of that? This way you come in quote-unquote, a dire situation, and then you get to have a blank canvas to then sell the water company, which you don't want to do, to get rid of your police department, which you don't want to do. These were major
That's correct.
issues that...
Those are the issues, Kerry.
Okay.
You're naming them.
So let's get into them. Talk about it.
Sure. So I've said this before. Why would you want to take over the city when you're saying all you want to do is have some more financial control? Because, again, the state, by a memo of understanding that we cannot get out of, has the ability to veto any contracts that have to do with finance. They have to approve all of hiring, firing, and any salary changes. So if you control all the finances, what can't you do? Let's be specific. You cannot fire the police department. You cannot fire the fire department. You cannot get rid of public works, and you cannot sell the assets of the city like the water company. You can if you take over the city. And that's why we say there's other people behind this, and they're trampling on our civil rights. The civil rights of home rule is what's most important. You go to the polls, you elect the people. In this case, they threw 3 councilmen out and they brought 3 new councilmen in, but they also re-elected 3 of the councilmen. So you don't even give these 3 new councilmen the opportunity to work with me, as they said in their election. All 3 would do it. 2 are Democrats, 1's a Republican, but all 3 said, we want to come in, we want to work with Mayor Guardian, we want to move our city forward, we want to create jobs. We want to lower the cost of government. But now you're usurping the residents of Atlantic City. And once you allow the state to do that, it'll be uncontrollable and things. They can take over any city and any municipality. And no one gave them that authority. We gave them the authority to run the state.
You're listening to the award-winning, when I say that, it's the Defending Best of the Best public affairs program from the New Jersey Broadcasters Association, where the mayor and I and Chris Coleman and Mike Rubel, we had the privilege of accepting the Crystal Trophy for this program's efforts. And I think we're making a very good case to repeat, because it's been a very, very good year that we've had with respect to issues and bringing the public the opportunity to hear from their mayor, to give the public an opportunity to pose questions to the mayor of Atlantic City. Here's my other theory, and I think it's on very, very firm ground. This is a 3-headed monster. They're all connected because they want casinos in North Jersey. What better way to help push that in the next 8-9 months ahead than to have total control of the city?
Right. So
because you can position that however you want.
So stay on your first point now.
Okay.
Let's just talk about that. So let me tell North Jersey and all New Jerseyans, the same politicians And I don't call them elected officials, and I don't call them public servants. The same politicians that are promising you tens of thousands of jobs and millions of dollars are the same people that cut us short. We feel the pain of broken promises of these two gentlemen, the two gentlemen that are telling you that North Jersey casinos are going to solve all the problems of the state. Be aware, this happens to you. Don't think it's just here in Atlantic City. And don't let them try to paint a picture that we weren't doing everything that we were asked to do.
And the reality is, as I see it, and even dispassionate organizations like Moody's Investor Services and other financial analysts and other casino analysts agree with this statement, this is not creating jobs. This is job shifting.
Job shifting and a lot less. So
yes.
If you don't have the complexes that we have, then you're going to be working with thousands of fewer people if you just run a casino like they say they're doing. So we're going to lose not just our casinos, we're going to lose our restaurants, our clubs, our spas, everything else that's connected to it, and certainly retail.
My program director, Chris Coleman, shared with me it reminded me of the Titanic when Leonardo DiCaprio was freezing to death, and he told Rose that he was going to write a very strongly worded letter to the White Star Cruise Line. And yours was a very strongly worded press release. We have it up at WPG1450.com for all of our listeners to check it out on demand. Have you declared war at this point?
No. There's no reason to declare war. I'm a gentleman, and I wasn't hired to be a general. I was hired to be a diplomat, and I certainly expect the people in Trenton that we sent there to be diplomats too.
All right, so
we have differences.
Let me press you, because if it's not a war,
yeah.
If somebody wants to come in and turn the mayor of Atlantic City and city council into potted plants,
yes,
you might be able to wear a sash
no.
and wave your hand.
No. This is a fight.
Okay.
This is a fight. But I want to tell you, Harry, the three people that I admire most in history of the world. It's not Genghis Khan. It's not Robert E. Lee. It's Mahatma Gandhi. It's Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And it's certainly Nelson Mandela. And I respect those people because they had neither the money, the resources, or the army to make social change, but they did it through nonviolence. And I'm telling you, that's what we're going to do. And I certainly urge everyone in Atlantic City, this isn't the time to get way excited. This is the time to march. This is the time to have peaceful conflict. This is the time for our Montgomery bus.
I think when I said war, I didn't mean anything that
yes.
would be physical or
right.
that would be untoward. I
yep.
meant this is a very serious situation because
certainly.
All roads now lead to the state takeover.
Yes.
Because if they take the city over, then they have total control.
Absolutely.
Now, what could you do? They have the authority to do this, correct?
No, they don't have the authority now. They would have to get the Senate and the Assembly.
What I mean is they have that.
If
though.
they have the votes, then they could do that.
You
think they have the votes,
yeah.
and the NAACP, the ACLU, the Conference of Mayors, and the League of Municipality, all that's siding with Atlantic City, then they could do that. We're certainly going to be in Trenton tomorrow. I promise you that I'll come back the next day on your show in the morning to tell you how we do. And then I'll tell you what the next step is. The next chess move is for the city of Atlantic City. But we're certainly going to be very aggressive in what we do now. We want what's best for Atlantic City, and what's best for Atlantic City is also good for South Jersey and ultimately for the rest of the state because of the tens of millions, actually hundreds of millions, that we send up to Trenton every year for all New Jerseyans.
For those who don't know for sure, what is the standing right now with the mayor and the city council in terms of, are you arm in arm with this?
Arm in arm.
Okay.
Arm in arm. There are 10 of us. We were elected as officials. And by the way, you may be leaking at some point the clandestine meeting that was held in Trenton. And yes, indeed, Senator Whalen and Assemblyman Brown and Assemblyman Mazzio were at this clandestine meeting to take over the city, to sell the water company, to crush the police department. But all three officials, I want to tell you, are hand in hand with us.
Yes.
And they were at St. James Church yesterday, holding hands and speaking very specifically that it is our civil rights that is being challenged, and all of them are disgusted with the concept that Trenton would do this to Atlantic City.
Before we get our first callers on, we're going to take a brief time out. The only point I want to emphasize, because I did break a story whenever it was first that the state was planning to take over Atlantic City. That was a story that we broke.
Yes.
We broke it on Twitter. We broke it at WPG1450.com, Harry Hurley on Facebook, and here on Hurley in the Morning,
and everyone
WPG
denied
Talk Radio 1450. And they all denied it.
Yes.
And Jim Whalen denied. He said he only knew 5 minutes before 6 p.m. I broke the story at 5:30 on that ill-fated day, but he knew before then. I just want to point that out. He knew before then. However, through multiple sources on both sides of the aisle, everyone has said to me that Jim Whalen is on board and that he is relentlessly preparing to fight for Atlantic City. And I believed it when I heard it because of the people that shared it with me, and I was watching the senator's actions. So even though they knew before about it, now that it has come to actually to pass, everybody is on the same page, correct?
That's correct.
So this
everyone
district
that
is united
yes.
at the legislative state branch level. I know the councilman, Freeholder Corsi, wants to check in tonight. I know his position. Yeah,
Freeholder Corsi has been with us from the beginning, as Freeholder Alex Marino has been. Now, the two representatives from the county that were at the meeting, I don't know if you spoke to them yet, and I don't know what their policy is. I haven't heard them come out publicly against losing our civil rights.
Back to your phone calls, I promise, as soon as we come back in just a few minutes. You're listening to Ask the Mayor with the Honorable Don Guardian, the Mayor of Atlantic City. I'm Harry Hurley. It is approaching 19 minutes past the hour, and we'll be right back. We have an open phone line at 609-407-1450. A lot of ground to still cover in the time that we have remaining. We'll be on air with the mayor until 5 minutes past the next hour, and then we'll join Mark Levin back in progress right when we finish up with Mayor Guardian at about 7:05.
WPG1450.com is South Jersey's 24-hour news source. When you need to know what's happening in South Jersey, around the Garden State, or across the country, visit WPG1450.com. The biggest news stories, your 5-day forecast, and more on your desktop or optimized for your tablet or cell phone. It's news when you need it at your fingertips from WPG Talk Radio 1450 and WPG1450.com. WPG Talk Radio 1450 presents Ask the Mayor. It's your opportunity to ask Atlantic City Mayor Don Guardian anything you want about the world's playground. To talk to Mayor Guardian, call 407-1450. Now, with Atlantic City Mayor Don Guardian, here's Harry Hurley.
Hey, thank you. Welcome back. 22 minutes past the hour. To your phone calls we go. Leslie is on deck, and she knows that. We're going to go first up, and he legitimately was in first. We're not moving up an elected official to the top of the caller list. Freeholder Ernest Corsi, former deputy mayor of Atlantic City, longtime former council president of Atlantic City, and now a distinguished member of the Atlantic County Board of Chosen Freeholders, representing a number of municipalities, including Atlantic City, now at the county level, joins us. Freeholder Corsi, good evening and welcome to Ask the Mayor.
Good evening, Harry, and to the Honorable Mayor Don Guardian. I just want to, Harry, please just allow me to echo some of the thoughts and the sentiments that the mayor has been talking about. It has been one heck of a week here in Atlantic City. Some saw this stuff coming, others did not see it. But from Wednesday of last week up until as recently as yesterday, members of the city council, the administration, and myself and Alex Marino and others have made it very clear where we stand regarding this state takeover and what's happening. I must admit that on Saturday I had the opportunity to meet with Senator Sweeney with members of the NAACP state president and the local branch, and we hashed out some information and some issues that we had, and we addressed them with the senator and told him that we did not agree with this issue and that he should have come to the community before he laid this plan out there, and then he began the process of saying how he apologized and it shouldn't have never got out the way it got out. You know the story. Once to get out there, you try to do damage control. But nevertheless, Mayor Guardian has been in the forefront with members of the city council and Kaleem Shabazz, who have led an effort this weekend to do a petition drive and had a big meeting at St. James AME yesterday after the Martin Luther King service to rally people, to get people interested in what's happening in Atlantic City. As I see it, about 10 minutes ago online, it popped up at the poll. There's another poll out that says there is still adamantly opposed to North Jersey casinos. So that poll is still rolling strong. And so if you can't get the casinos up North Jersey, let's come in and take over Atlantic City. I would urge City Council, and the only one can do it would be Mayor Guardian, and I don't want to step on anybody's foot. I'd call an emergency meeting with members of council because I just read the mayor's press release that talks about bankruptcy is on the table. This is something that we've got to be very, very serious about. Everybody says, and I've said it in the past, I don't support bankruptcy, but we cannot sit by idly and allow Senator Sweeney and others to sit here and continue to crap on us.
So, Freeholder, let me jump in. If you don't support bankruptcy, maybe early on a lot of people could legitimately look at it one way or the other and say, hey, it would pay off a lot of debt. That would be very, very challenging. And if the state doesn't provide certain funding in years in the future, and there's 2 years' worth of pension payments that haven't been made, there's a lot of money out there, hundreds of millions of dollars, that Atlantic City doesn't have. But when you add to the equation, then that's one debate. When you add to the equation, though, that the state wants to take the city over, bankruptcy, to me, Freeholder Corsi, has to be on the table because it's the one way that you can eliminate this strangling debt without needing the state, and you protect home rule, local sovereignty. So I think it's a whole new ballgame, Freeholder.
So, and that was the point I was leading into, and you took just about what I was going to say. And I was going to say I was against bankruptcy, but now that you have basically tied my hands, you give me no other option because you can't allow the outsiders who continue to make a decision for Atlantic City without your elected officials having a seat at the table. I'm talking about the mayor and members of City Council. When you're meeting at your drum whacking to talk about what's good and bad for Atlantic City and Atlantic County, and we don't have a seat at the table. And so therefore, which caused me to revisit and to have a conversation with the mayor and some members of City Council, we need to call an emergency meeting to discuss the possibility of a bankruptcy. The only one can call this meeting is the mayor. And I'm not telling the mayor what to do, but it would be my suggestion because you got to move forward, and we don't have a lot of time. And what Christie has done, again, is unacceptable. Whether we like Christie, dislike Christie, whatever the case may be, leave our egos at the door. But I called in, Harry, because I want to commend the mayor and members of City Council for standing up and not sitting on their behinds and taking this lightly because, let me tell you something, we all in this boat together. We either rise together or we're going to fall together. And so I had the opportunity to spend some time with the mayor at an event yesterday. We talked about some issues. We talked about it at the NAACP. I think the community is getting the message. I think members of City Council is getting the message. And that I think the message we need to send back to Trenton and to Sweeney and others, not in our backyard. And as we talked about these clandestine meetings that's been taking place, we don't need to have a clandestine meeting. Mayor can call a special council meeting and move forward. So I want to say that in conclusion that, Mayor, keep the faith, stay strong, continue to do what you're doing. The friends we think we have, sometimes they're not our friends, and if they are our friends, they have a strange way of showing that they're friends to Atlantic City. But this too shall pass. But I think, as the mayor's indicated, bankruptcy is on the table. Ernest Corsi has reconsidered his earlier decision where he was against bankruptcy. This is something that's serious, and we must look at it for a number of reasons. And, Mayor, you know it, rest assured, I got your back on the freeholder board. I can't speak for the freeholder members, but you can rest assured this guy who represents Atlantic City will be there shoulder to shoulder, hand in hand, fighting hard as hell as we can to do what we can to represent the people of Atlantic City.
Freeholder, thank you. Mayor?
Thank you, Freeholder, very much. You have been there with us, with me, from the very beginning. You truly represent the best interests of residents of Atlantic City. And Freeholder, you're absolutely right. I had always said that bankruptcy was on the table, but it wasn't necessary because of all the things that we in the city were doing and all the things that were being done in the state. That's now off the table. They have indeed tied our hands, and I have been in contact today with President Small, and we're going to be in Trenton tomorrow together. And after that meeting, I think it is very wise for us to call an emergency meeting. We're not going to have secret clandestine meetings at anyone's house. Everything's going to be up and open. We're gentlemen. We're not going to not be gentlemen in this fight, but please don't take us being gentlemen for being either stupid or weak. It's a big mistake. We are going to be fighting this, and we are going to use every option that we have available. And you will see that with the council and council president's approval, we're going to conduct an emergency meeting, and we're going to take some drastic action. It's going to happen very, very shortly.
Leslie, and to our other callers, let me get one important follow-up in, and then we'll come right back to your calls. I promise you won't be on hold very long, but this is important. How do you square, Mayor, that a state fiscal monitor, Ed Sesdelli, very good man, by the way.
Very good.
Has been right there, every single hire, every single fire, every single major decision. The state has already been there. Then you throw on top of that the extraordinary appointment of an emergency manager and a very skillful, polished professional, very good at what he does, by the name of Kevin Lavin, and that nothing that was going on was ever going to lead to this incredible nuclear option that's now playing out. What did we pay Kevin Lavin $2 million for? Because he didn't say come in and take over the city of Atlantic City, did he?
He did not, although now people are saying that that's what he said.
Well, he's saying it at the end,
I
but
guess
he didn't say it all this time.
He didn't say it. He certainly didn't share that with me. He shared that it was very important for the state to be able to veto financial decisions of the city. So, Harry, we get down to the bottom. If they have all this financial control, and certainly Ed has that, Ed Sesdelli, I respect the man very much.
Yeah.
He's a genius in things he does, but he's very fair and he's very good to Atlantic City while working for the state and representing the state of New Jersey. So he walks that thin line, but he does it very well, and he keeps us under control. What can't Ed Sesdelli do? He cannot get rid of the police department. He cannot get rid of the fire department. He cannot force me to privatize the public works when it doesn't make any financial sense. And he knows, as everyone else does, that it makes no sense to sell the water company. So how do you override Ed Sesdelli and stuff? You take over the city.
The big part of this is that water company. It's a lot of things. It's casinos in North Jersey. It is that water company, and we could name the company that's going to get it right now.
Right. So
Can't
Harry,
we, Mayor?
So Harry, this is what I think we should do. If the takeover Atlantic City is all about selling the water company, then I think when the senators and the assembly vote, since they are so strong on pay-to-play for everyone but themselves, then we should make a little rule. We should ask each of them that have received any funding over $301 from any water company in the state of New Jersey to abstain from the vote with the Senate and the Assembly, because the vote to take over Atlantic City is a vote to give one of these water companies away.
Yep.
And if you do that, and I haven't even checked my elect, but I don't think there is a politician in the state of New Jersey that has not received funding from a water company.
The vote would be 2-1 in each chamber. 609-407-1450, an open phone line. Leslie, welcome to the program. It's Ask the Mayor with Mayor Don Guardian, and you're on the air.
Good evening, Mayor. Camden has worked very hard to turn their city around. They disbanded their police department and in order to regain control, which they seem to be on the right path of doing just that, bringing in businesses to Camden and really just trying to turn it around and make it a better place to want to go visit, spend money by bringing in businesses. If the state were to take control of Atlantic City, would we then at any time have the option of regaining control of the city? Or once it's a done deal, it's a done deal? And one other quick question. Are we prepared for another Sandy? Are we prepared for more floods that I believe will come in the future, maybe not anytime soon, but you never know. Are we prepared as a city for that to happen again? They're my two concerns. Like I said, Camden has worked very hard to turn their city around, and they seem to be headed in a positive direction. Could we do the same for Atlantic City?
So,
and if not, why?
Two excellent questions, Leslie. Let me answer both of them. First of all, before Camden got on the right track, and by the way, the mayor of Camden, Dana Red, is a wonderful mayor, doing a wonderful job. I always applaud her with the tough, difficult situations that she has been forced to be in, and the tough decisions she has to make. The state did take over Camden. It was an absolute disaster. Other than the state having all the money in the world to build an aquarium and to do Rutgers, you asked local people what it did and didn't do anything for them. Then they sent in the state troopers. That didn't work either, didn't reduce crime. When they returned the city of Atlantic City to the local elected officials and then gave them the financial support, I don't have it in front of me, but I want to say that the city of Camden last year received $101 million $101 million just to help with the city budget. We got $16 million from the state. And the school system got over $400 million for their school system in Camden, and we got $38 million. So the city of Camden is rebuilding itself because they're getting support from the state of New Jersey. The Camden Police Department is not the Atlantic City Police Department. The Camden Police Department and their Fraternal Order of Brotherhood, the FOB, refused to make the serious cuts that were needed in salary and benefits for the people of Camden to be able to pay. And it was so outlandish that they had to disband the police department. They had no choice. I can tell you that that is not the situation in Atlantic City, although we're only in negotiations right now with the PBA.
But the goal is the same.
Yeah, the
state.
Yes, the goal of the state wants to make it up. So what happened is the state of New Jersey told me if we could cut $10 million from our police department, that we would be in line with the right model. And they also told me that same amount with the fire department. So the fire department, after they came up with the a new contract, I want to say saved about $3 or $4 million plus the $10 million from the Safer Grant. So $13 million, they only had to save 10. The police department needs to save $10 million. They already cut $5 million that they didn't have to do. They have $5 million more. We're in negotiations now with the PBA, but this isn't adversarial. Yeah, it may have to go to arbitration because that's the way these contracts work. But in the end, you'll see that if we have to go to an arbitrator, the arbitrator is going to see the tough situation that Atlantic City is in. And I believe the men and women in blue in Atlantic City do understand it. They understand they got to take a 15 or 20% hit, a cut, and that, we're never going to have those 45 officers that we once had. We're going to be at 285. But that because of the new technology, the body cameras, the new CAD system, the cameras on the street, all of that will indeed provide good public safety. So that's the difference. Camden is doing a wonderful job. That's where we wanted to go. And by the way, the little help that Camden got is the same little help that we're getting from the state. And that's why you have Stockton breaking ground here, South Jersey Industries breaking ground here, the Showboat being bought by Bart Blatstein with a very exciting plan that's going to create thousands of jobs just in the one location. And then, of course, the Burai project with 250 homes ready to break ground in the spring as well. So
sidebar, but an important
yes.
one. And Leslie, thanks for hanging in there with us. And we have other callers that we have to get to quickly. The fact that all this publicity, bankruptcy, state takeover of Atlantic City, it really seems to me that Atlantic City, with the contraction of losing 4 casinos in 2014, things had really stabilized. Meat AC is selling like crazy. Atlantic City's reputation was really solid around the country. MPI, to choose Atlantic City, is one of the most amazing things to happen in the longest time. They're coming in June.
That's big. That's really big.
Huge. But are we going to have some freak show specter of? Is it going to be a state takeover? No, we're suing the state. We're not going to go. We're not going to go with that. We're going to go bankrupt. How does all of this affect the stability of people wanting to invest in Atlantic City? And it can't be good.
Harry, of course it's not. And that's the reason that I've argued against bankruptcy, because it's not good for our local businesses. And I try to explain it's not going to be good even for fabulous, well-run places like Borgata and things. You're going to be nervous if the city files bankruptcy, because there'll be a question in your mind. Are the city streets safe? Is the ambulance going to come if I need it? Is there a fire department? Are the roads being maintained?
And if you make an investment, are you going to get paid?
Of course, absolutely. So that's why we try to avoid it. Is it an easy answer for the city? Absolutely. We're going to lose $200 of our $240 million worth of debt, and we're going to kiss off the money that we owe Borgata. They're going to get pennies on the dollars.
All right, Mayor, we've got to get a break in 60 seconds. Give Leslie a quick answer to: are we ready?
I'm sorry. Yes, I want to tell you, I'm so proud of Angelo DeMeo, our emergency manager, and I want to tell you that this is one of the areas where the city works very closely with the county, and the state of New Jersey. And yes, we're ready. When we had Joaquin coming in, I was so proud of how ready we were 7 days before it came. And even today, we lost electricity in a third of our city. And Angelo DeMeo was scurrying with the county to find locations to make sure that if we needed to find 10,000 people beds tonight, we were prepared to do that. And so, I hope we're going to be ready for this snowstorm that's coming. We'll see. It may be too cold, too wet. Can we put brine down? All of those things. But I want to tell you, our emergency manager learned the mistakes we made last time, and we're prepared to do better this time. And again, that's how you have to work with the county and the state.
Leslie, thanks for calling in. 2 questions asked, 2 questions answered. It's Ask the Mayor at 40 minutes past the hour. Atlantic City's 3rd Ward Councilman, one of the new members to City Council, Kaleem Shabazz, will join us next, and then you can follow at 609-407-1450, 609-407-1450 with the Honorable Mayor of the City of Atlantic City, Don Guardian. I'm Harry Hurley. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
Visit the WPG Talk Radio 1450 YouTube channel through WPG1450.com to access exclusive video content from South Jersey's talk station. Watch every episode of Ask the Mayor with Don Guardian and Ask the Congressman with Frank Lobiondo on demand. Plus, see videos from Harry Hurley.
And just click on our YouTube channel and you'll be able to view video.
And more. Subscribe to the WPG Talk Radio 1450 YouTube channel today. WPG Talk Radio 1450 presents Ask the Mayor. It's your opportunity to ask Atlantic City Mayor Don Guardian anything you want about the world's playground. To talk to Mayor Guardian, call 407-1450. Now, with Atlantic City Mayor Don Guardian, here's Harry Hurley.
Hey, thanks very much. Welcome back. 43 minutes past the hour. If you want to speak to Mayor Guardian, phone lines are open until 5 minutes past the hour at 609-407-1450, and you're listening to Ask the Mayor on Town Square Media, Atlantic City's WPG Talk Radio 1450, South Jersey's talk station. Joining us now is one of the newest members to City Council. He took office on the 1st of the new year, but not new to the city, of course, and his 3rd Ward Councilman, Kaleem Shabazz, joining us. Councilman, welcome to Ask the Mayor. Good evening.
Good evening, Harry. I think I should say Happy New Year to you. I think it's the first time I've spoken to you in the new year.
Yes.
And before I start, I just want to thank you. You were one of the first people to support my candidacy, and you predicted that I would win smashingly. I must say I didn't think it was going to be as smashingly as you predicted, but you were right, and I just wanted to say that.
Music to my ears. I like that. I like the sound of that. Serious times. You're coming on board at, I think it's easy to say, the most critical point in at least 40 years in Atlantic City. The first week on the job, what are your thoughts?
Well, you're right. It's very, very serious times. That's why I fully endorse what my colleague and my freeholder representative and my good friend Ernest Coursey said about a emergency meeting. I urged the mayor, not that I need to urge him, but I agree with him that the mayor should call a special council meeting. This is a very, very serious situation that we live in. The mayor has done an excellent job of leadership, and I salute him and thank him for his energy and his fortitude in going against his own party. Although this is not a partisan issue, it happens to be driven by partisans and people who want to take advantage of Atlantic City. And as a resident and elected official, I am offended by the process that left the mayor and the council people out of discussions. Harry, we've been around a while, both of us, and so has the mayor. I have yet to hear of a comparable situation like this, a comparable situation where people sit down and make decisions that would affect the quality of life of a area and not have the officials who are affected involved in the conversations. I mean, that's unbelievable. A lady from a news agency, I won't identify the agency, but she called me and asked in an interview, she said, Councilman Shabazz, have you ever heard of a process like this? And I told the lady, I said, Miss, I have an earned degree from Rutgers University. My major was urban studies. I have credits towards my master's. I've seen a lot of case studies that we had as classwork, and I've known some things. I've never seen people, as Corsi says, clandestine and esoteric meetings, have meetings about a city and not have those city officials involved, and then those city officials, the mayor and the council, find out about it from the media. I think that's outrageous is too mild a word for it. So, Harry, I am just determined to work harder. Obviously, it's not an easy thing to do. It's not an easy time to be an elected official. We have some very, very serious, hard questions that affect the quality of life for people, and the mayor's right. We have to get it right. We have to show unity, and we've shown that. We have to show concern and diligence, and we're going to continue to show that. And Harry, it needs to be highlighted. President Sweeney went on television and in the op-ed in the Star-Ledger Sunday, and one of the issues he talked about was the cars and how the guys are driving around with the cars, and so the city's only 4 miles square, and what do they need cars for? Jesse Kurtz, myself, and Jimmy Chang, new council people, we're not taking cars, and you're going to see in the very next, I would say next 24 hours or less, that the council president is going to put out a directive that is going to bring all the cars physically back into the city property. The keys physically are going to be in the city clerk's office, and there's going to be a procedure that allows council people to only use cars on verified city business with a record, and the cars will be returned along with the keys after that verified city business is conducted.
That's how it should be. Also, I have confirmed, independent of this conversation, Atlantic City Councilman at Large George Tibbett turned his car in this past Friday.
That's correct.
So that's another council member without a car. There's only a couple left.
Well, I hate to say it, and I won't say that. That's good, and Harry, we have to get that word out because Ed Sassadelli told the 3 new council people when he gave us an orientation that outside of Atlantic City, the perception of Atlantic City government is not good. And I think that's an accurate assessment that people have, and we have to work hard to change that as we go through this David and Goliath fight against Senator Sweeney and other people who would want to do Atlantic City harm. But David many times doesn't beat Goliath, but I think this is one time David is going to win.
Six flat, shiny stones. That's all it takes, my man.
Exactly.
And if you got one good shot, it takes one.
That's it.
David had 6. He only needed 1. Kaleem, congratulations on your election and your joining the city council, and you came on board at a very important time.
Kaleem has done a wonderful job as a councilman so far. I have always been impressed with Kaleem's leadership in our community. He is there for all the tough meetings, the tough rallies. It's when the house is burning, when people are shot, he's there to come calm the crowd and be a good member and stuff. He's a very, very good man, a good representation of his mosque, and certainly a good representation of residents in Atlantic City. And I'm so pleased that he's joined the leadership team in Atlantic City.
For those joining the program, it's Ask the Mayor, the award-winning Ask the Mayor, Best of the Best program, defending champ with Atlantic City Mayor Don Guardian. I'm Harry Hurley. It's WPG Talk Radio 1450. We're at 50 minutes past the hour. If you're just joining the program, this program in the very near future, I know in Chris Coleman, the very, very near future, will be on demand at WPG1450.com, and also it will replay in its entirety this Saturday morning in the Town Square Saturday morning block of programming. That's 7 o'clock this Saturday. This program will replay in its entirety. And if you're just joining the program, we have really melded together very succinctly three incredibly important issues that have, a lot of times in politics you see things that are conflated. These are actually converging. You have a state government that wants to take over the city of Atlantic City. At the same time, they want to cannibalize Atlantic City's and the state's leading industry, the multi-billion dollar, it's still a $2.6 billion dollar gaming jurisdictions, one of the largest still in the world, and they want to cannibalize it and bring casinos up north. And then at the same time, they want to take pieces of city assets and basically award them to people of their choosing. So we have brought all these issues out tonight during Ask the Mayor. And if the state, and it's not an if, I mean, the senator had legislation ready to go. He's ready to drop a bill in the hopper, and the state senator from our district wasn't even part of the plan. I mean, talk about disrespecting. Kaleem's talking about the people at the local level disrespected. The senator, the Senate president disrespected the sitting longtime senator, who's a former 3-term mayor of Atlantic City himself, to not have a seat at the table, and for this to all go on this way, and for the now 2-term Democrat assemblyman, and of course the assemblyman of the other party, Assemblyman Brown, whose support of Atlantic City has been unconditional. No one has been involved here. This is all the outsiders trying to write the new rules.
Absolutely. And, the senator tried to put this on the vote last week. He snuck it in late in the afternoon, early evening, and didn't have the votes. I mean, I want to thank all of the senators for saying we got to figure out what you're doing because we don't understand what's going on.
Mayor, I have a theory behind that vote. I think it was a sneak attack where the Senate president believed maybe his high water mark would be people not even expecting it. What's this? Okay, I guess we got to do it. We got to do it. I think he just took a shot that maybe he could pull those votes out.
I think he did. I think he said, listen, we're going to give Atlantic City more money in these bills. And by the way, we're also going to get more control. And this just makes sense. Let's take it over and things. And I'm very glad that they didn't do it. But it's certainly the danger coming up, as is the casino in North Jersey. But everything that's going on now should be a warning to people. The money we're supposed to get from casino gambling isn't coming. People that promised us lied to us. And the same people telling you that they're going to fix things in New Jersey. We know what you got to fix in the state. We've got to look for the next governor to say, how are you fixing our transportation fund, and when are you going to start paying into the pension fund?
I mean, they've been
Those are the issues.
They've been robbing the pension fund for years.
In
the private sector, you go to jail for what they've been doing.
And the transportation fund.
Mayor, for those listening, and I know it's not a dictatorship, especially under your leadership on the executive branch, that it has been a team effort based upon mutual respect and the ability to cooperate with one another and respecting the fact that the legislative branch is an equal branch of government in the way that Atlantic City's form of government with mayor-council, strong mayor, but the way that city council is set up. The point I'm trying to ask you is, I'm not asking you to speak for 9 other people, but I think breaking news came out tonight in many fronts on your program, sir, and not the least of which is it sounds like after this trip to Trenton, you're going to be calling a special meeting of the Atlantic City Council. An emergency
meeting of the Atlantic City Council. And I'm not trying to delay this. We're going to do it. I just want to make sure that every councilman I've been able to talk to, so they know that we're going to do this, they're going to be available, and they know what the purpose of the meeting is.
So we'll have anything relative to that up at WPG1450.com. We will follow up tomorrow on Hurley in the Morning to make sure that people know that that's going to be coming. We're also going to let the public know tomorrow morning that the mayor is going to be making a trip to Trenton. And the state saying that if they have the votes, they're going to move to take over Atlantic City. If they do that, if they drop that legislation in the hopper, if it passes both houses and it is signed by the governor, will Atlantic City immediately institute litigation?
Yes. We will. You have to sue the senator on this. He doesn't have the right to do this, and we're going to call on everyone in New Jersey. We need to have a movement. We've got to march on Trenton. We've got to march on the senator, and we've got to call everyone together and saying our civil rights are not for sale. You can't do this. We wanted you to support you. We want to be with you, but you can't take away our rights.
Let me ask you a shop question, because I have to tip my cap once again to Bart Blatstein, because a lot of people, I think probably the majority of people, didn't believe that he would get to the settlement table and that he would close on that 20-some million, 23, whatever it was, $1 million deal to buy the former Showboat. This man, everything he says, he does. Yeah,
he does. Bart's a sharp guy. You know, Bart is crazy like I'm crazy. He's crazy about Atlantic City. He's crazy about Philadelphia.
Loves it.
He's a very creative thinker. I like the guy. You'll see that he's going to be buying additional property. Because the Showboat's not big enough for the plans that he has. I promised him I wouldn't shoot my mouth off to tell you about how exciting this project is.
So big things are coming.
Big things.
Now, what this
several thousand jobs just in that location, and he doesn't have enough room with what he has. That's what he's doing.
He needs a bigger footprint.
some very exciting things, and it's what everyone's going to do, saying this is what Atlantic City should have, and what he's bringing back is going to be things you haven't seen in Atlantic City in 50 years, but it's going to be updated for 2016.
Kudos also to Dr. Harvey Kesselman, the president of Stockton University.
My favorite president now.
Mine too. He inherited such a mess, and he, with just skill and polish and class and stick-to-itiveness, he found a way to remove the albatross of more than $500,000 a month in carrying costs, absolutely strangling for a university to have to deal with that. This now enables, this is the gift that keeps giving, because Blatstein owning the former Showboat and now even expanding his footprint, that's going to be wonderful.
Economic development.
Yes, and now Stockton will be able to finally pursue their Atlantic City dream.
And it's a beautiful campus that they're going to be building. I think the way they're building it now, Harry, which is you build it small. So 1,000 students, 500 will be residents. It'll grow to 1,800 students before they have to build the next building. I predict it's going to go really, really quick. I know there's some people saying, nah, my kid will never go to Atlantic City. They're going to come to Atlantic City. They're going to want to be in a dormitory on the ocean and the boardwalk, and it's going to be a fine school. This isn't just going to be a party school. This is going to be a great school, and I can't wait to hear what the curriculum and the individual colleges are going to be. But Atlantic City is well poised. I hope we have marine biology. You know, obviously hospitality makes sense. I'd like to see law enforcement as part of the curriculum in one of the colleges. I think it's very important, and I think we can take that on here in Atlantic City.
I just wrote back one of your listeners, a gentle lady listener, will protect the identity, that wrote, love, love, love our mayor. Keep on keeping on, Mayor Don Guardian. So
Thank you. Pray for me, please.
In terms of all of that, for listeners of the county, but more in particular, listeners of your city in the world's playground, WPG, by the way, listeners of Atlantic City that are worried about basic things that would normally get done, but worried that now that all these other strangers are taking over and they think they're taking over. Right. What do you say to try to calm people that the city is well in hand and that everything is going to be all right?
Yeah. So we're going to continue with the services that we have. I think I told this before. I'm so glad I spent about 40 years in nonprofits, because all I've done is learn to beg. When I became mayor, I figured I'd have all this money to do things. I didn't. I begged for everything. And by begging for everything, it means that the state taking it over isn't going to change the boardwalk. That's going to continue. The roads are going to continue to be paved because South Jersey Gas is doing them. And we've got grants from the state and the federal government to take over that. So you're not going to see any difference in services in Atlantic City, even if the state takes over. We have services that are going to be provided. We're going to continue to cut our costs. We have to. We get it. There's no one that doesn't get this. That's why I'm so frustrated, Harry, because it's not like I'm saying, don't tell me how to run my city, or I'm not making a single cut. I'm saying, show me a better way. Show me how we can save money. Show me a better way to to run a recreation department, to light our parks, to pave our streets, to provide better policing. We're there, and I've got a team. This is besides City Council. All of my department heads are very energetic and enthusiastic about finding best practices elsewhere and bringing them to Atlantic City. You're going to see a great air show. You're going to see the 6 concerts on the beach. You're going to see great entertainment this summer and stuff. We want to make Atlantic City insane inflatables. Absolutely. You're going to find Atlantic City. We want to make a great place to live, a great place to work, and a great place to party. And I got to be one of the few mayors that said, I'm proud that Atlantic City is a place to come and party and things. I'm sorry we're under attack right now, but you come down here, you're going to go to 2825, you're going to go to Vagabonds, you're going to go over to the Irish pub, you're going to have a great meal, you're going to have some great beer and things like that, and you're going to find it safe, and you're going to find the streets lighted, and you're going to find great hospitality in our city. And on behalf of all our restaurants, whether you want an upscale knife and fork or, a fabulous brunch over at Capriccio's or a great burger over at Vagabonds or Iron Room, it's all there for you. Great steaks at the Palm. We've got great places in the wintertime that you're going to have a good time.
Mayor, in terms of, do you see a scenario where the state would allow Atlantic City to become insolvent by April, let's say, if this isn't all ready to go and they haven't taken over the city and you haven't yet, because you're not going to do litigation until they actually do it. So it's one of these things.
We're going to take some immediate action as early as Monday.
Okay, there you go. So that's breaking news. But if they allow the city to go insolvent and then come to you and say, look, we'll help, but here's the deal. We take it over, Mayor, and we need your signature right here. Would you agree to like a shotgun signing like that?
No, I won't do that. I'll take bankruptcy over state control. There's no way that I have the authority to remove the civil rights of the residents of Atlantic City, the right to choose their own leaders. And even as the mayor, they've not given me that right. That would be usurping my duties the way this governor and this Senate president is trying to usurp their duties.
You know what's interesting about it all at a political level? I mean, it's so many levels, but at the geopolitical level even, this is Republicans and Democrats that are banding together. This is quite incestuous. And then at the local level and the county level, we're hearing people of both parties that
working together Absolutely.
Against members of their own party.
Yes, we all are.
And it's one of these things that we've been talking about on Hurley in the Morning on WPG Talk Radio 1450, now in our 26th year, Mayor, and that is when this area is up against it. We band together, rally together like no other region you will find. People put everything aside.
And
Harry Hurley and Jim Whalen are arm in arm right now. Okay?
Yes.
So that's proving all things are possible.
It is. And Atlantic City's resilient. Our people are resilient. And again, I want to tell you, Harry, I say this all the time. What's good for Atlantic City is also good for Atlantic County and South Jersey. I understand that. I accept that responsibility. We're doing good things for South Jersey. It's very important. And it's wonderful to hear the support from both freeholders that are on our side. I hope we have some more support from the county. It's time for everyone to be standing up and be heard. Either way,
and in the morning, I'm going to make people take a stand.
They're
going to have to answer.
I look forward to
the
that,
direct
Harry.
question, and it starts tomorrow morning. We have a minute left in your program. The music's going to play us out. Put a cap on top of what I said an hour ago was going to be an unbelievable episode of Ask the Mayor. Closing comment.
So here it is. It's January. We had all this great news of all those new businesses coming to Atlantic City, new growth, new entertainment. Now we get slapped in the face by the people that were our loyal friends. Within 6 months, they've turned on us. They promised us no casinos outside of New Atlantic City, and now they're promoting casinos in North Jersey. They told us they'd work hand in hand. As we cut the budget, they'd provide state funding. They've reneged on that. that. They said they'd move some of the casino funding to Atlantic City. They've reneged on that as well. And now they want to take us over and things? I don't think so. They haven't done a good job on anything they've taken over. And you have a group of people in Atlantic City that are just trying to do what's best for the people of Atlantic City. We don't have the hidden agendas. We haven't had clandestine meetings. They're the ones that had them and things. Shame on them. And God bless everyone in Atlantic City. God bless America. Howie, thank you for giving us the opportunity every month to come on. Thank you at Town Square Media.
Mayor, great to be with you. To everyone that's been listening, we thank you for your time, your attention. We promised you an hour ago that this would probably be the most important, the most relevant episode of Ask the Mayor that we have ever had. And I can tell you my inbox is blowing up with your feedback. To everybody that called in, thank you. To all the callers we could not get to, it was simply because of time constraints. So we will do better next time to even get more of your phone calls. But this is the challenge of our generation. 40 years ago, when they were talking about the last one out of Atlantic City, turn off the light switch because it's over. And then we had 40 years, basically, of peace and prosperity and even recession-proof revenue because of the casino industry. This is one of those times in this generation that it starts again. Mayor, thank you.